I sat in my car, hands trembling as I held the phone that had just delivered the news of my termination. Tears rolled down my cheeks as I thought about going home and telling my family. I believed they would support me, comfort me through this difficult time. But the harsh laughter and bitter words that were about to ring out would change my life forever. Before I tell you this story, let me know where you are watching from. Do not forget to hit like and subscribe to join me as we explore this journey from heartbreak to freedom. Now let me take you back to that life-changing day. I am 28 years old, and I had been working as a marketing coordinator at a tech startup in Austin, Texas for 2 years. Every day, I poured my heart into that job, staying late, coming in early, believing that hard work would lead to the promotion I desperately wanted. The company was small but ambitious, and I thought I was building something meaningful there. That Monday morning started like any other. I arrived at the office at 7:30 a.m., an hour before most of my colleagues. I had a crucial presentation to prepare for a potential client, and I wanted everything to be perfect. The coffee was still brewing when I settled at my desk, reviewing slides and fine-tuning my pitch. At 10:30 a.m., my phone buzzed. Marcus, our CEO, wanted to see me in his office immediately. My heart skipped a beat, but I assumed it was about the presentation, or maybe even good news about that promotion I had been hoping for. I knocked on his door and entered with a smile. Marcus looked uncomfortable, avoiding eye contact as he gestured for me to sit down. The words that followed hit me like a freight train. "Vanessa, I am going to cut straight to the point. We are restructuring the company and need to cut costs. Your position has been eliminated effective immediately." The room spun around me. 2 years of dedication, countless overtime hours, missed family dinners, and canceled weekend plans. All of it meant nothing now. I tried to speak, but my voice caught in my throat. "I understand this is difficult," Marcus continued, "but we need you to pack your things within 30 minutes. HR will explain your severance package." 30 minutes. That was all the time I had to erase 2 years of my professional life. I walked back to my desk in a daze, my colleagues avoiding eye contact as I placed my few personal items into a cardboard box. The plant I had bought to brighten my workspace, the coffee mug my sister Amanda had given me for my birthday, a small picture of our family from last Christmas. The drive home felt eternal. I kept rehearsing how I would break the news to my parents. David and Linda had always been supportive, I told myself. They would understand that this was not my fault, that sometimes these things just happen in business. My parents lived in a quiet neighborhood about 30 minutes from downtown Austin in a white one-story house with a white picket fence that my father had painted every spring for the past 15 years. As I pulled into the driveway, I could see them through the kitchen window, enjoying their afternoon coffee on the back patio. I found them sitting at the small round table under the oak tree, the same spot where we had shared countless family conversations over the years. My father, David, 55 years old and recently retired from his engineering job, was reading the newspaper. My mother, Linda, 52, was grading papers from her third-grade class. "Mom, Dad," I said, my voice already shaking, "I need to tell you something." They looked up, and I could see the concern in their eyes. I took a deep breath and forced the words out. "I lost my job today. They let me go." The silence that followed was deafening. Then something I never expected happened. My father began to laugh. Not a gentle, sympathetic chuckle, but a harsh, mocking laugh that cut through me like a knife. "I am not surprised," he said, folding his newspaper and looking at me with what I can only describe as disappointment. "You have always been all talk, no results." My mother shook her head slowly as if she had been expecting this moment for years. "We told you that company was too ambitious for you, Vanessa." I felt my heart breaking. "I worked so hard, gave everything to that job," I whispered. "Hard work means nothing if you cannot deliver," my father replied coldly. "Your sister Amanda would never find herself in this position." "Amanda has always been the practical one," my mother added. "You have been chasing fantasies." I sat there in stunned silence, unable to process what I was hearing. This was not the family I thought I knew. Where was the comfort, the encouragement, the unconditional support that parents are supposed to provide? Instead, I was receiving criticism and comparison to my younger sister, something that had haunted me my entire life. Amanda had always been the golden child. At 25, she had just graduated from law school and seemed to have her entire life planned out perfectly. She was organized, focused, and everything came easily to her. I, on the other hand, had always been more creative, more spontaneous traits that my parents had never appreciated. I remembered being in middle school showing my parents artwork I had created only to have them redirect me toward math and science. "Art will not pay the bills," they would say. "You need practical skills." Without another word, I stood up and walked to my old bedroom, closing the door behind me and finally allowing the tears to flow freely. I could hear my parents continuing their conversation outside, their voices carrying through the thin walls. "She needs to face reality," my father was saying. "This will be good for her." My mother agreed. Maybe now she will grow up. 1 week later, everything got worse. Amanda called with exciting news she had received an unpaid internship at a prestigious law firm in Houston. While most people would see an unpaid position as less than ideal, my parents were ecstatic. This was exactly the kind of opportunity that would set her up for a successful career. I was still unemployed, spending my days sending out resumes and hearing nothing but silence in return. The rejections were starting to pile up, and my confidence was at an all-time low. Meanwhile, my parents could not stop talking about Amanda's achievement. "We should throw a party," my mother announced during dinner that week. "This is such wonderful news." And so they did. By Saturday afternoon, our backyard had been transformed into a celebration space. Gold and navy balloons, the colors of Amanda's new law firm, hung from the trees. Streamers created a festive canopy over the patio. My mother had spent the entire morning cooking barbecue, making her famous potato salad and baking brownies. They invited everyone, 20 people, including relatives, neighbors, and family friends. From my bedroom window, I could see guests arriving, all smiles and congratulations for the golden child of the family. At 6 p.m., I finally worked up the courage to go downstairs. I could hear laughter and conversation flowing from the backyard, and for a moment I hoped that maybe this could be a fresh start for our family. Maybe they had processed my job loss and were ready to be supportive. I found my father at the grill wearing his favorite apron and flipping hamburgers. The smell of barbecue filled the air, and guests were scattered around the yard, drinks in hand, enjoying themselves. "Can I join the party?" I asked quietly. My father stopped what he was doing and looked at me, his expression hardening. "Why? So you can sulk in the corner and remind everyone what failure looks like." The words hit me like a physical blow. I felt my face flush with embarrassment and anger. "She is my sister. I want to celebrate with her." Before my father could respond, my mother appeared at my side. She had been carrying a tray of drinks to guests, but she set it down when she heard our conversation. "She earned this," my mother said, her voice cold and final. "You have earned nothing but pity and shame." I felt the world tilt around me. 28 years of being their daughter, and this was how they saw me. Not as someone going through a difficult time who needed support, but as a failure, an embarrassment to the family name. I looked out at the party at Amanda, surrounded by cousins and family friends glowing with pride and happiness. Someone asked, "Where is Vanessa?" And I heard my father respond, "She is going through some difficulties." But instead of running away or breaking down crying, something strange happened. I felt a cold calm wash over me. I looked directly at both of my parents and smiled. "You will regret this celebration," I said quietly. My mother laughed bitterly. "What are you going to do? Apply for more jobs you cannot handle?" "Just remember this moment," I replied. "Remember how you made me feel tonight." I turned and walked back into the house, leaving them standing there with confused expressions. As I climbed the stairs to my room, I could hear the party continuing below, laughter and music drifting up through the floorboards until nearly 11 p.m. That night, I did not sleep. Instead, I sat at my old desk with my laptop researching until 4 in the morning. I looked into digital marketing, freelancing, e-commerce, online businesses. I remembered my old passions, photography and graphic design, things my parents had always dismissed as a waste of time. By sunrise, I had made a decision. I was going to build something of my own. Not because I wanted to prove my parents wrong, though that was certainly part of it, but because I realized that I had been living my life according to their expectations instead of my own dreams. The following Monday, I created a new LinkedIn profile highlighting my design skills and marketing experience. I built a simple portfolio website showcasing some graphic design work I had done in college. My first client was the owner of a local coffee shop, someone I had known since college who needed a new logo. $50. That was my first payment as a freelancer. It was not much, but it felt like freedom. I worked from the house without telling my parents what I was doing. They assumed I was still job hunting in the traditional sense, applying to corporate positions and waiting for interviews that never came. Meanwhile, I was building something entirely different. Every day, the tension in the house grew thicker. My parents would make comments about my unemployment during dinner, always comparing me to Amanda, who called regularly with updates about her internship. "When will you find a real job?" became a daily question. "You have been unemployed for over a month now," my mother would say. "This is embarrassing." Our relatives were not any kinder. When Aunt Margaret visited, she looked at me with pity. "Poor Vanessa, still looking for work." Uncle Tom shook his head during Sunday dinner. "At your age, you should be settled by now." Even my cousin Sarah, who was 2 years younger than me, felt comfortable commenting. "Amanda is such an inspiration, unlike—" She would trail off, but the implication was clear. I listened to all of it, absorbing every cruel word and disappointed look. But instead of breaking me down, each comment added fuel to the fire that was building inside me. I was going to prove every single one of them wrong. 3 months into my freelancing journey, things began to change dramatically. I was working 12 to 14 hours a day, teaching myself advanced Adobe Creative Suite, studying marketing strategies, and learning social media management. The work was exhausting, but it was mine. My income grew steadily. The first month I made $800, the second month $1,500. By the third month I was earning $2,800 more than I had made at many of my previous corporate jobs. Word of mouth began to spread through Austin's small business community. The coffee shop owner whose logo I had designed referred me to 3 other local businesses. Each project led to 2 more. I was building a reputation for quality work and reliability. During this time, I secretly rented a small studio apartment downtown for $900 a month. I began moving my belongings, gradually taking things to my new place without telling my family. I worked from coffee shops and co-working spaces during the day, only coming home for dinner and sleep. At home, I maintained the appearance of someone still struggling to find employment. I wore the same clothes, acted discouraged about job prospects, and let my parents continue their narrative about my failure. The breakthrough came in my 4th month when a local restaurant owner approached me for a complete branding package. This was not just a simple logo job, this was everything. Logo design, menu layout, social media setup, marketing materials. The project was worth $5,000. I spent 3 weeks perfecting every detail. The logo captured the restaurant's personality perfectly. The menu design was both elegant and functional, and the social media strategy I created was comprehensive and effective. When I delivered the final package, the owner was thrilled. Within the first month of implementing my designs, the restaurant's social media followers increased by 300%. The owner was so pleased that he referred me to 8 other businesses in the following month. By month 5, I was earning over $8,000 and had to hire a freelance assistant to help manage the workload. My client base had expanded beyond Austin, with businesses in Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio reaching out for my services. Still, my family had no idea about my success. As far as they knew, I was still unemployed and becoming increasingly desperate. My father would shake his head during dinner. "You need to lower your standards, Vanessa. Take any job you can get." My mother would add, "Pride comes before a fall. You cannot afford to be picky." Meanwhile, Amanda had visited with news that she had been offered a full-time position at her law firm upon graduation. Another celebration was planned, another reminder of how perfect their younger daughter was compared to their failure of an elder child. In my 6th month of freelancing, everything changed. I received an invitation to design a complete marketing campaign for a tech startup that had just secured $2 million in funding. This was not just a project, this was a career-defining opportunity. The contract was for 6 months at $15,000 per month. When I signed that contract, I knew it was time to reveal everything to my family. I decided that the revelation would happen during our usual Sunday family dinner. I came prepared with my laptop bank statements, client testimonials, and the signed contract that would change everything. The conversation at dinner was predictably focused on Amanda's success and plans to buy a new house after graduation. My parents were glowing with pride, discussing how they had always known she would succeed. Vanessa, my father said, turning to me with that familiar look of disappointment. You have been unemployed for 6 months now. This is becoming embarrassing. Our friends keep asking about you, my mother added. We do not know what to tell them. I calmly placed my laptop on the dinner table and opened my bank statement. I have been working, I said quietly. I made $47,000 in the last 6 months. The silence that followed was absolute. You could have heard a pin drop. I turned the laptop screen toward them, showing my portfolio website client testimonials, and finally the signed contract for $90,000 annual retainer. I am moving out tonight, I continued. I bought a condo downtown last week. My father stared at the screen in disbelief. This is impossible! You are lying! I pulled out the printed contract and placed it in front of him. This is my new client. Tech startup $2 million in funding 6-month contract at $15,000 per month. My mother was speechless, her eyes moving between the bank statement and my face. Why did you not tell us? Because you never believed in me. I replied, my voice steady and calm. You laughed when I needed support most. Remember the party? I continued, looking directly at both of them. You said I had earned nothing but pity and shame. Well, I have earned my freedom, and the self-respect you tried to take away from me. My father tried to backtrack. We were just trying to motivate you, he stammered. You were trying to break me, I said, closing my laptop and standing up. But I built myself back up, no thanks to either of you. At exactly 8 p.m., the doorbell rang. The professional movers I had hired were right on time. I had planned this moment carefully, wanting it to be dramatic and final. As they began carrying boxes and furniture out of the house, my family stood in stunned silence. Everything I owned fit into one moving truck, evidence of how little I had ever truly belonged in that house. Before leaving, I found Amanda, who had been watching everything unfold with wide eyes. I am proud of you, I told her, giving her a genuine hug. But I will not let them use us against each other anymore. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I never wanted them to compare us like that. I know, I said. This is not about you. This is about me finally standing up for myself. 6 months later, my life had transformed completely. My business was generating $180,000 annually. I had hired 2 full-time employees and moved into a trendy office space in East Austin. The local business journal featured me in an article titled "Rising Entrepreneurs to Watch," complete with a photo of me in my new office. The first call from my family came on a Thursday night at 10:30 p.m. It was my father. Vanessa. His voice sounded different, smaller somehow. Your mother and I saw the article in the business journal. There was a long pause. We did not know you were doing so well. He continued. Maybe we could have dinner sometime. I was polite but distant. I am very busy these days, Dad. Of course, we understand. The calls became more frequent. My mother started texting me every day. Thinking about you. Miss you. Hope you are well. My father would email me articles about successful entrepreneurs with notes like, "This reminded me of you." Amanda called to tell me that our mother cried every night, saying she had lost her daughter. Our relatives had started asking about successful Vanessa at family gatherings, and my parents were struggling to explain why their accomplished daughter was no longer speaking to them. The breakthrough call came at 2 in the morning on a Tuesday. My father's voice was desperate. Vanessa, we need to talk. Your mother has been depressed since you left. We realize we made terrible mistakes. Please, we need you more than ever. Through Amanda, I learned the truth about what was happening at home. My parents had been bragging about my success to the neighbors, claiming they had always known I had it in me. They were trying to take credit for my achievements while simultaneously begging me to come back into their lives. But what struck me most was that in all their calls and texts, they had never actually apologized for what they had said to me that night of Amanda's party. They regretted losing me, but they had not acknowledged the deep pain they had caused. After 8 months of no contact, I finally agreed to meet them. I chose a neutral location, a coffee shop downtown, far from the house where I had been broken down. When they walked in, I barely recognized them. My father looked older, more tired. My mother had lost weight and seemed fragile. They sat across from me with nervous expressions. "We were wrong about everything," my mother said immediately. "We are so sorry." "You proved us wrong," my father added. "We are proud of you now." I looked at them for a long moment before responding. "Your pride does not undo the damage you caused," I said quietly. "When I needed support, you gave me shame. When I needed encouragement, you gave me criticism." "We know," my mother whispered, tears in her eyes. "I do not need your approval anymore," I continued. "I built my own foundation, created my own success, found my own worth. But I am willing to work on rebuilding our relationship slowly with clear boundaries." Over the following months, we did begin to rebuild. It was not easy, and it was not the same relationship we had before, but it was honest in a way it had never been. Today, 2 years later, my agency employs 12 people and generates over $500,000 annually. I speak at conferences about entrepreneurship and overcoming family criticism. My relationship with my parents has improved, though it remains guarded. Amanda and I are closer than ever, having freed ourselves from the competition our parents created between us. Sometimes I sit in my office looking out at the Austin skyline, and I think about that broken young woman who sat crying in her childhood bedroom while her family celebrated in the backyard below. That girl could never have imagined who she would become. The most important lesson I learned was that family approval does not define your worth. Success comes from self-belief and persistent action. The people who hurt us most sometimes give us the greatest gifts, the motivation to prove them wrong, and the strength to stand alone when necessary. Today, when people ask about my success, I tell them it started the night my family told me I had earned nothing but pity and shame, because that night I decided their opinion of me would no longer define my reality. And sometimes the most painful rejection becomes the most powerful redirection toward the life you were meant to live. Have you ever had your family doubt your dreams when you needed their support most? How did you handle criticism from the people closest to you? Share your story in the comments below, because your experience might inspire someone else who is going through their own difficult time. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about overcoming life's challenges and finding strength in unexpected places. And do not forget to share this video with anyone who might need to hear that their worth is not determined by others' opinions of them. Thank you for listening to my journey, and remember that sometimes our greatest setbacks become the foundation for our most incredible comebacks. Until next time, keep believing in yourself.